Cause I bet you didn't even think you was gonna make it 21, did you? Nope. Same here. I didn't think I was gonna make it because, like, as you were saying about children, the thing about children is they're so resilient, right? Like that resilience can only hold up for so long as you grow older. Right. You grow less resilient as you grow older, right? And so then things get harder to bear. Right. Things get harder to carry. And that's why, I feel like that's also why as a child, you really are very carefree, right? And so like we do have a need for God, but we're so resilient at that point in our lives, we kind of just don't feel like we need God at that point. Right. And as we get older and as we see like, dang, I'm becoming less resilient the more I get older, so the more I need God. And also he tells us, I think it's in Mark 10, to have a childlike faith to enter the kingdom. You know, and so I was just like, man, like when you were mentioning children and helping out children, which I think is great. And I know your story. You've told it to me before. And you are a blessing, my brother. You are. And I love what you're doing with your craft. Like you're putting your energy towards something that is positive and that is a part of you, and that you get to share and that you get to help others. And this is a position I know you never thought that you would make it to, and little you would be so proud of you. If like 10-year-old you was sitting right there and be like, dang, like we can really do that, we can achieve that, and we can make it to this point, we can be that man one day. That is crazy, you know. And it's just like, it's a blessing all in itself. It's something that we can never show enough thankfulness and gratefulness and appreciation for. Right. But I thank God for you, because you're gonna go places and you're gonna be in spaces where you can touch people and impact people, just like for God living within you.
Say it for you.
Thank you.
You know, you say you're gonna go to East Tennessee State. Go Pirates, by the way. You say you're gonna go to East Tennessee and you're gonna try to help people out with, learning the physical, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like
further than the physical.
Oh, further than the physical.
Yeah, so my undergrad was in exercise and sports science. So that's me just learning like kinesiology. So all like the science and physics of how the body moves, and like the systems that burn certain energy systems, like like things like that. But right now it's the leveling up process of like, okay, this is a master's in public health. Like, yes, like I will, like probably wherever I go to see masters on the paper, my salary may go up, right? But my thing is the concentration in what I'm going for, and it's health promotion. So that's me promoting and educating people of like, hey, like your health is more than physical. It is mental, it is emotional, it is nutritional. Like it goes further than the surface. That's like just trying to read somebody off of the cover of the book. It's deep. Same thing with your overall health. It's deeper. The environment, you were talking about environment earlier. A lot of things stem from you just being in a certain environment. And I promise you, once you take someone out of a certain environment and put them in another one, they'll thrive. And that's also a part of us growing as a person and God growing us. And that's also a part of walking on faith. Like we did. Like we came from some circumstantial environments that weren't necessarily good for us, and that we just didn't see a way out. But God provided a way out. And even though we didn't know how it was going to pan out, or how like the ending would go, he was just like, I need you to trust me, not by what you see, but by your faith. And that's exactly like what we did. Even if we felt like we weren't doing that at the time, we were, because we didn't know what was to come, and we didn't know how this was going to pan out of coming to college from the environment. Because also like there are studies of like how your environment affects you entirely, affects your mindset. And so that's also where God comes in. I think think it's in like Romans 12. I think I think it's like Romans 12, 1 and 2 about 1 through 2 about him talking about how like he wants to reframe our mindsets, you know, because like we've been just in an environment so long that becomes our identity, that becomes like who we are, how we act, how we behave, learned behaviors that we've seen, because as kids, like we're data collectors, like we're just taking in data. We don't even know if it's right or wrong, we're just taking in data, and it's doing so much to our little brains. Especially trauma. Don't even get me started. Yeah. Trauma, man, just trauma. It already does so much to like your amygdala, which is like how like you perceive fear. Your hippocampus, how you can remember things. Like your cortexes, like your adrenal cortex, like all of these things. Like man, like there's a lot going on as you're bringing a child up, and so. I think that it's great also for you that you did step back on faith of like, Lord, like, and He has to get us kind of in that low point in order for us to be fully surrendered in a way to Him of like, you have no other choice. You really don't. Like some people, like you gotta, like God knows us, and He's just like, look, like I have to get you to a low point so you can come up to me, right? So you can keep ascending up to me. But there's also, and this is kind of where I had got at of like I felt established and I felt like I was doing things, but I was doing it on my own will. And like He was like, okay, you can reach the top, but watch how fast you drop. You can reach the top, but watch how fast you drop, because you thought you got here without me. It's crazy. He's like, little girl. He said, little girl. And I said, ooh.
Yeah, I'm about to say there's been a lot of mountains I've climbed. I thought I did myself.
And we thought we climbed that